How you doing? I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com, and today I just wanted to talk about what parts of quitting drinking do you find the most difficulty with. Before I start, I'd love to hear your comments down below. Leave your comments in the comment section wherever you listen to this, on YouTube or on the website. Most people have, their problems come from the cravings, from the urges to drink, from sleeping. They can't get to sleep, or they don't know how to relax. They can't socialize, all these kind of difficulties. Now, you're going to have two sets of different areas where your body is affected, your mind is affected, you as an individual are affected in the beginning. One is the physical elements, right? So the physical withdrawal from the drug itself, right? You've got a certain amount of that. It's not as big as most people make out. And then you've got the psychological withdrawal, so to speak, or the psychological elements of it, right? As I say, all this depends on the amount of alcohol that you've been consuming in the past. How much have you actually drank in the past, right? These are all the things that are going to affect big bug. These are all the things that are going to affect your how long it's going to take you to get through these. Your state of mind is going to be another one. Your overall confidence in yourself, your confidence in your own abilities to do things, that's another factor. So there's different levels of people. No two people are going to be the same. No two people are going to have the same difficulties in quitting. Some people just say, well, yeah, it was really easy. I think because they bigged everything up, because they sort of made mountains out of molehills in the beginning, and they thought their expectations were wild. They thought that things were going to be a lot harder than they were, and then when they actually stopped and they found that things were much easier. Once the truth comes out, the truth is always in the proof of the pudding is always in the eating, as they say. So that's basically the same here, with the proof of, what I'm saying, that most people won't go through anywhere near as large difficulties or cravings or withdrawals as they think, as people make them out to be. Once they go through their own quit and they actually stop drinking themselves, then they do realize this. They think, well, yeah, I'm getting this, I'm getting the urges, I'm getting the cravings and stuff, I get a little bit of sleeplessness, but not as bad as I thought. So one of the first things I'd say to you is that don't worry about these cravings and stuff. Any of these symptoms that you're going through now, they're only temporary, right? And they're going to diminish the more you get into it. So as you get into it more and more, first week, second week, third week, first month, second month, third month, 6 months, a year, these are going to be, they're just going to disappear gradually. Once you get to 6 months, you should have very little left, 3.5 years later, I still get the odd twinge, right? Every so often. And it's not for the drink, it's not for the alcohol itself, it's always for what I associate it with in my own mind, right? So going out on a mad party and just letting everything loose, right? Letting my hair down. Probably not a great analogy, but in those senses, right? It's sort of, I miss that, right? But I have alternatives to that now. I can get out, and we've got some fantastic mountains around here that I can go and climb, and it burns out all that sort of frustration, and that's where it's all based on for me. When I want to do something like this, I have a tenseness and I have sort of an anxiety or something inside of me that needs to be released, right? That is built up and needs to be released. As I say, I'm getting back into yoga a lot more, so I'm finding that the tension, instead of being built up, is being released in a gradual process of the yoga. And you can also get this I get this from walking as well. You can get it from running, from whatever exercise you're doing, But I find yoga to be particularly satisfying because it feeds my mind and it releases that energy, not only in my physical self, but in my body as well, right? I'll give you a few tips on how to sort of reduce these cravings as much as possible, or to reduce the difficulties that you have. As I say, one of the first things is to remember that the urges for alcohol, they're going to come and go, right? It's not as if you are there in the first moment and you get an urge to quit and it just stays with you, it sticks with your mind and it's there with you all day long, right? It's not that. If you dwell on it, possibly you could do that, but in the general flow of things, you're going to get this, up and down sort of feeling. The urge will come and it'll be at a peak and then it'll diminish. And one of the ways that you can help yourself is just to try and divert your attention away. There's a lot of things that you can do. Each of these are going to depend on the individual. For one person, distracting their mind might be going for a walk around the block. That would be my thing, to get out of the house and go and do something. For another person, it might be taking out their knitting and knitting the back of a jumper or something like that. Depends on the individual. So write down a list of the things that you know are going to distract you, things that you're going to like, and then when you feel the urge coming on, take out that list and take a look and say, right, I can do this. This is what I fancy doing now. And once you take your mind off it, your mind can't dwell on two things at once, So, it's just going to distract your mind until the next peak again. And once you get to the next peak, do the same thing again, right? Another thing that you can do is to take out your list of reasons, motivations for you quitting. And I've said this before, everyone should have this and start out your journey with this list of motivations, right? You have to sort of, everyone's got their reasons, right? And as I say, the same thing, no two people's reasons are going to be the same. So, my reasons were, one of my big reasons was my son, another one was my health, another one was the fact that I really wasn't making any progress in my business. I was taking one step forward, two steps back, and that one step forward, two step back thing was happening so much in my life, throughout my life. So that was, so they were some of the reasons, my own personal reasons. So before you start this journey, write down your reasons, write down your motivations, all of them on a piece of paper. And then as you get the cravings, as you hit that peak in your cravings, take out your list of reasons why you're quitting. Maybe while you're walking, you're distracting your mind by walking and you're reading your list of reasons for quitting, right? So, these are just powerful reminders of exactly why you're doing this, why you're putting yourself through this, because at the end of the day, that can be one of the big things, is like you saying to yourself, well, Jesus, I just, if I had one drink now, it would make me feel better, right? If I had one drink, I wouldn't have to think all these things, I wouldn't have to go through this, One drink is not going to harm me, and, as they say, you've got to die from something, so, why not be alcohol? These are all excuses that your mind is going to come up with. These are all ways that we talk ourselves into giving up on what's good for us and going back to what's bad for us. We rationalize. So you have to listen to those rationalizations as well. That's another tip, is to as you feel these rationalizations coming up, write them down on a piece of paper so you don't forget them. And then, as you're going through this, you can sort of say to yourself, well, yeah, here's another rationalization, this is just one more excuse that I'm giving myself to stop doing what I'm doing, to go back on what is good for me. Up the top. It's a very strange morning. I'm looking out over the Atlantic here, or the Atlantic that was back in Ireland, and there's just some wonderful clouds. If you look around the landscape here, there's blue skies, the odd cloud there, and then you come back over the Atlantic, the Med, and there's this big one dirty rain cloud. I love it though. I mean, most of the time here in the summer it's just blue skies. Caught my breath. It's really nice. So as I say, you know, your rationalizations, we rationalize with ourselves all the time about the most stupid stuff, you know, about, you know, getting ourselves into feeding ourselves with these instant gratifications instead of thinking about the long term, you know. It's easy to sort of put things off and to, you know, let the guy that's going to come a week later deal with the problem, you know, because you're shirking your responsibilities now, you know. I'll talk about that in another video, I think. But, you know, your rationalizations, we come up with these all the time, so it's important to take note of them. The best way of taking note of them is to write them down on a piece of paper, if you can, the same piece of paper, you know. And then you've got a whole list of rationalizations. You go, well, this is the excuse that I'm making now, but this is the same excuse I made last week, or look at the other excuses I made last week, you know. Another tip is to make sure that you keep your thirst at bay, right? To quench your thirst, drink plenty of water. You know, not only does this quench your thirst, but a lot of the cravings are thirst related. I mean, I found this out when I started thinking about my drinking a long time afterwards, when I was thinking about being back in Ireland and working in the forestry, doing a physical job, and I'd starved myself of fluids during the day, so that by the time I finished at night I'd be gasping with the thirst, and that would draw me to the pub, and the first pint would taste absolutely delicious. And of course that was just adding to my own rationalizations for why I was drinking, because it was quenching my thirst. You know, it was adding to the story that I was telling myself in my own head, you know, and the way I was building up alcohol onto a pedestal, if you know what I mean. It was, you know, alcohol was a necessary part of my life, and it really wasn't. It was, you know, I was doing this to myself. Another reason to drink a lot is just because people function better when you're fully hydrated than when you're not, right? If you're trying to lose weight, you know, you can fill your stomach up a lot more with water than not. It helps you to lose weight, it flushes out the toxins, all that kind of stuff. So drink plenty of water, you know, it's a good thing for you to do. Another tip is to just take your mind off the problem and come back to it later. I've spoken about this earlier on in your list of things, if you have a list of things that you can do. You know, whether it's going out for a walk, you know, and playing a computer game, whatever it is that you wouldn't normally do while you were drinking, do something different, and it just focuses your mind on other things. I mean, if you're in the middle of a craving or an urge, or, you know, it's basically feeling sorry for yourself, right? You're going through this thing, and it's, you know, whatever you're saying in your head is not positive, so you have to try and change the negativity of the urge, of that craving, and push it towards positivity. So you can do this through affirmations, by just saying, you've got a list of different things that you say to yourself. Like for me, one of my affirmations was that alcohol is my enemy. I'm never going to drink alcohol again. I can't wait till the alcohol is completely disappeared out of my body. You know, I've thought about my alcohol thing being like the golem from the Lord of the Rings, and just this sniveling little beast that was in the back of my head, and, you know, this was the alcohol voice that was going, oh, please drink, you know, you'll be doing this, and trying to convince me that that drinking alcohol was a good thing, you know, and that it would relieve the pressure, and only one drink, and that's all we'd need, and then we'd go back to it tomorrow, you know. Tomorrow never comes, and this is what I'd be saying to myself, you know. So it's all these things, all these affirmations, and have 1 or 2, 3 affirmations that you say to yourself over and over again. And while you're saying this affirmation, you know, whether it is, this alcohol bastard has got to die, you know, and I can't wait to see this fucker die because, you know, he's been taking over my life for years. Whatever it is that you're saying to yourself, short sentences, you know, not big long ones like that. Another tip is to just change everything that you can about your daily living, right? You know, a lot of this is to do with habit. You know, a lot of the alcohol drinking is to do with just the basics of habit. You know, one thing follows another. You've got the trigger, you've got the sequence, you've got the behavior. So, as I say, this is a long-term thing. Going into the long term, going through the weeks, going into the months, your habits are going to change. You know, your daily routines are going to change, and they're going to change into not drinking, right? So as you're going through your life now, you've got these habits where you would normally be drinking, right? So take, for instance, coming home from work or going to the pub or whatever it is that you normally drink. There is a routine that builds up to this, and there's a routine that you go through as you start to drink, and then a routine that you go through until you stop drinking, right? Whether that's you go to bed or you have a cup of tea or whatever it is that you do after you've drank your fill. So you have to change those routines, and you have to deliberately change those routines. So change everything means that you don't follow those routines, so you deliberately try and alter the flow. You know, instead of coming home from work and going into your normal routine, you do something different. Instead of going to the pub, you go somewhere different, right? And on. Whatever it is, you just change that whole thing. And you know, the final thing I'd say to you is just don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, there's plenty of places that you can ask, whether it's your family or your friends. They're the people that should be there for you, that you can say, well, you know, enlist these people before you quit and tell these people what you're going to do. Not only does that give you good leverage on yourself, right? You know, you actually saying, well, I'm not drinking anymore to these people. And then if you do, you look like a fool, you know, in front of them. Nobody wants to be the idiot. You know, go to your friends and family and just explain things. And then when you're at the height of your cravings, you should be able to talk to these people. You know, you should be able to say, well, yeah, you know, I just need to talk, and I'm sort of having a craving, or I'm having a moment here and I just need to chat it out. Go to your doctor, you know, and maybe they can sort of, you know, doctor, some people suggest going to the doctor. I can't see that one myself because, you know, like I say, it's not a medical issue. If you've got a medical problem, go to your doctor. If, you know, if you've got a medical problem at all with this alcohol thing, you know, if you're feeling physical symptoms that you can't explain, if you're feeling wrong and you need to go to your doctor to get it sorted out, you know, to just get checked up, to be on the safe side, make yourself feel all right, you know. We've got a great forum on Facebook. It's a secret Facebook group that you can sign up to. You can get to that group by signing up to our newsletter over on the website, and it's a great place. We've got almost 500 people there that are posting daily and reinforcing each other, giving each other a lot of courage and motivation, and yeah, it's just a great place to be. There's plenty of other forums as well out there. Watch the daily videos. You know, I put out a daily video every single day. You'll get if you sign up to the newsletter, you'll get a daily reminder in your inbox. So, you know, that's a good motivation as well, just to keep watching, you know, whether it's my videos or somebody else's videos, you know, just keep watching positive motivational videos, you know, things that are going to drive you forward and stamp that positivity into your brain. You know, that's what you want. You want to eventually have yourself being your own best friend, right? Being your own best influence. You know, if you can influence yourself in a positive way daily, and you can influence your thoughts, if you can change your negative thoughts into positive thoughts, the more you do this with yourself, the easier it's going to get, you know. So listen, I'm going to stop it there. I'm going to carry on my walk. And until next time, stay safe. Keep the alcohol out your mouth. Come on over to the website and sign up to the newsletter. As I say, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a few free gifts that you'll get as part of that. Also, if you want to help out the channel at all, then you can do so by going over to Patreon /Alcohol Mastery, or just go into Patreon and search for Alcohol Mastery, and you can become a patron of the show, you know, and it's for as little as €2 or $2 per month. So there's a lot of videos that I put out every month, so you know, that would be greatly appreciated. Until next time, as I say, I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Onwards and upwards. Take care.